Hello, I'm truly glad to see you all here with me in this lesson. Today we're planning to draw a sketch just like this one, right here, together with you. So for this particular lesson, you will find in the provided materials a complete plan set, a free brush pack, all the essential textures, and the perspective. So let's get started. Click on the plus sign, then new canvas. The dimensions are 29 by 21 centimeters. 450 dpi and 50 layers. If you don't have enough layers, just set it to 300 dpi and that should be plenty for you. The RGB profile check mark, that's done. Here's our canvas. Now we're adding the underlayer. Settings, add, insert photo. This is our underlay. We click this button, stretch to canvas, and our underlay has now been stretched. Next, I suggest we trim the canvas. We go to settings, then canvas, then crop and resize, and we trim the canvas in this manner. Usually, if you want, you can circle it or you can press the letter N, then go to the modes and select the multiply mode. Then click the plus to create a new layer. A new layer is created and we drag it below our base layer. And now we can work with color below the base layer and the base will multiply. So this black color will be on top. Let's see how this is going to work out. So first of all, we are going to fill in the beige part of the building. On a new layer, we click on the tool, this snake-like one, the freehand tool. It's actually called freehand selection. And we select our roof. We are carefully outlining it. All right, the selection is ready. Now we need to choose the right color. I'll pick it out now and tell you the number. So go right here to the palette and then click this button. And right here, you'll find the color number. You can pause the video right now, write down this specific color number, and you will get the exact same color. It's 228, 223, 210. All right, let's get started. We drag it onto our selected area and it fills with color. Next, we go to layers. Click on the layer, lock alpha channel. This function means all the free space around this layer is locked and we can now only draw on the beige colored area. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to switch over to the classic interface. Then we'll select a slightly darker color and we'll grab this specific brush, the one called Rust. And then we'll be applying the texture. Now, we're going to pick a slightly lighter color and then apply the texture in this particular way. The idea is that our light source will be shining from this point, specifically from left to right. Now, we need to define the areas that are going to be in shadow. We'll take the selection tool and then we'll select this particular wall right here. This specific tool. So we press right here and then we can just go ahead and lower the brightness. Following this, we highlight the specific surface that I'm indicating right now. On this one, you can just walk right across it without needing to be careful or precise.
And exactly the same way.
Let's try to make it a bit darker, shall we? Yes, that's exactly how I want it. There, it's all done now. Perfect.
All right, so next, this wall here needs to be made of wood. We click Settings, then add, then insert photo, and then we upload our texture. It will be attached for you, so you'll simply download it, and it will be available in your recently downloaded items.
We are adding, and now we will scale it properly. And we drag it underneath the layer
with the top part. And now the brightness setting and the contrast. I believe that's what this particular button is called, something along those lines.
We're going to make it just a little bit brighter and more saturated.
Approximately this. 54, 63, and then 50. And that's it, we're all done. Something a bit in my way here, then we'll fill the dark gray part of the building. We click on the plus sign, create a new layer, and I'll drag it underneath the tree layer. I just click and drag it. The tool that I'm going to be using for this next step is called the selection tool. And what I'm doing now is I'm carefully selecting this specific area that you can clearly see right here. This particular area, the one I am indicating. I'm choosing a dark gray color. The color number is 66, 66, 66. Wow, that's so beautiful. And this is how I fill it. Next, everything follows the same pattern. Then click on the lock alpha channel layer. From the classic palette, we select a darker color. This time we'll take a brush called cotton, and in the same way we'll create the texture. Next, we'll take a lighter color. We are making texture. Concrete, you can easily undo any action you make by simply using 2 fingers. I'm not entirely satisfied with the way this particular section looks, so I went ahead and reduced the overall transparency, and then I just went over it one more time like this. Now that looks absolutely perfect. Alright then, next up, for this particular section right here, we're going to need to place a stone. And then, once again, we'll go into the settings, select insert photo, and then we'll search for the appropriate stone texture. Here it is, the stone texture we were looking for. I'm going to rotate it precisely 45 degrees, and then I will scale it down. I'm scaling it up, just like this. And then I'll go into the layers, I'll swipe, and then I'll duplicate it. I'm going to tap on the arrow for the snap option and the magnet tool. And this is how we drag and duplicate the layer. Then we duplicate it again and drag it over. And then all these 3 layers can be combined by simply swiping them together like this. The lasso tool or the rectangle tool, we select the unnecessary portion, and then in this manner we simply sweep it away beyond the canvas boundaries. There, that's it. We've achieved a truly excellent result. Next, we have the garage doors. We could actually insert them, but I think we'll draw them ourselves. We'll use this gray color, 90, 90, 90. What the heck?
It's truly beautiful.
We're going to use the rectangle tool for this. Then we'll carefully select the specific area of the gate. And after that, we'll simply drag the desired color into place. Click on the layer, lock alpha channel. Right, let's pick a darker color, the classic darker one. We'll grab the marker brush, a bigger size, set the size to maximum, transparency, let's set it to 34, and we'll make a slight gradient. Even a little bit more would be good.
Next, we're going to take out and use the specific brush that is called the Rapidograph brush.
Oh, by the way, we actually didn't enable the snapping feature, the drawing assistant.
there's a specific function called the drawing assistant that allows you to draw for perfectly straight lines. We navigate to the settings menu, then select canvas, and finally drawing assistant. We've just enabled it and then immediately disabled it again. Alright, now the drawing assistant feature is fully operational for us. You can activate it by simply clicking on this particular button. So up to the drawing assistant. We turned on the drawing assistant. That's it. It draws straight lines, and we're making lines like these, just like real garage doors.
We'll start with a dark line here, and then for the next step, we're going to select a color that is both lighter in shade and also a bit thinner in its application. And this is precisely how it's done. I am very often asked how I managed to draw such perfectly straight lines and why I never seem to hesitate or pause with my stylus. Well, this is how I do it. It's the drawing assistant feature that specifically helps me achieve this. The garage doors are all finished and completely ready, so now we can proceed to draw the window frames. For a new layer, and I'm dragging it down, I prefer it this way. I'll take any gray color again, whatever you like, maybe a lighter one. The sharp render brush, maximum opacity. I'll check the size now. Let's enable snapping. So, in general, every single time we create a brand new layer, it's necessary to turn on the snapping feature, or to be more precise, the drawing assistant needs to be activated separately. Let's go with this specific setting. The size is 23 with maximum opacity, and then we'll begin to draw the window frames in this particular manner.
And right here we have our window, and for this particular one we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Let's set its scale to just 18%. Considering its position, it's located a bit further back. So just like this, you see. And there we go, it's finished. Now we need to make all of these elements appear three-dimensional. How exactly do we go about doing that? Let's begin by working on this very same layer. We're going to turn on the alpha channel lock, then we'll select a slightly darker color and a soft brush. Let's turn off the drawing assistant on just a bit. Set to 14, and we'll slightly darken the window frames from above. And here, from this corner, and here, from this corner. This way, we've created some unevenness. Next, we have a layer with a dark concrete. New multiply layer, blending mode, multiply, clipping mask.
Oh no, I've made a mistake. It's not the alpha channel mode, but actually a clipping mask. We'll take a dark color, which we already have, a marker brush with a larger size and less opacity, and then we'll create a gradient from right to left, from right to left. And here we'll darken it a little bit more from the top. Next, we're going to do exactly the same process with a layer that contains the stone. We'll use the alpha channel, create a brand new layer, set its blending mode to multiply, and then apply a clipping mask. White tick this, then point our finger like this, and the eyedropper mode activates. Selecting the desired color, move it slightly to the right and down, making the color darker, and then in exactly the same way. We are working on creating volume. Thanks to the multiply blending mode, our color doesn't get covered up, but instead it layers correctly. This will be enough for now. Next, we'll do the same thing with the tree, exactly the same process. A new layer, set to multiply, and then a clipping mask. We'll pick a color, shift it, make it a bit darker, and then here we'll apply it slightly from top to bottom.
It is ready.
So now let's move on to the background. We'll click on a new layer and then drag it all the way down to the very bottom. After that, we'll select the green color.
The color code we're going to use is 69, 75, 58. Then with the selection tool, choose the rectangle and select the entire bottom area. After that, we'll fill it in.
Alright, here we go. We're going to select a color that's just a little bit darker this time, then pick up a soft brush and make sure to enable the alpha channel lock. After that, we'll create a nice, smooth and subtle color gradient, just like this. Our brightest corner will be right here, and the darkest one will be over there. Pause. All right then, that's all done. Pause. Now let's pick up this particular brush. What is it actually called? Pause. We'll take a lighter color.
And this is how we proceed. We are now going to create the texture for the grass. It's possible to select a color that is just a little bit lighter.
So this is the final look of the grass we've created. This is how it's all coming together. Now we'll create a brand new layer and then drag it right underneath the grass layer. And then we're gonna select, this is the color. And now I will tell you its specific number. What is the color number?
91, 120, 134.
We're going to draw it just like this, and then for the next step, we'll be using this specific color. Lighter, we draw like this, even lighter, we draw like this. Next, we go to the magic wand, Gaussian blur, and apply Gaussian blur, and we get such a smooth gradient. Next, let's take white color, the clouds brush, it's called rainforest. And so we are drawing the clouds. The main point here is that it appears as if there are many clouds right in this area, and then gradually they transition and merge into the sky. I also do this. I take a little bit of gray paint, I then reduce the brush size, and I sort of add just a little bit more of that gray color. You can even add just a tiny bit more. Here we have these small scattered clouds, and then way off in the distance, you can also make out some more clouds. So, this is how it looks now. Let's go to our set. Oh, I forgot to add a background to this set, so I'll adjust it. So I'll go to my library. It's available for purchase, by the way. But this background, I'm going to include it for you completely free of charge. You'll be able to see it in your own set, and I'm taking...
So, these trees right here, I'm going to select them with 3 fingers on the screen, and then I'll choose copy. Alright, perfect. Now, let's open up our sketch, and we'll stay on this exact same layer, and with 3 fingers on the screen, we'll tap paste.
So this is how it has been inserted for us. Now let's immediately adjust the tone, saturation, and brightness. We're going to reduce the saturation level by precisely 31 units, and we'll keep the overall tone exactly the same as it is right now. So what we need to do next is to duplicate our existing background trees and then carefully stretch them across the entire rear plane of the image, just like this. Everything is great. These 2 layers can be merged. You can merge them like this, or you can click merge down like this. I also suggest clicking on the magic wand, motion blur, and blurring our background a little bit like this. The next thing we'll need is our trees. You could in fact simply copy everything and then you'll have it all in one place. You can either copy it or use 3 fingers to copy it on the screen. We'll then enter our sketch, and with 3 fingers on the screen we'll simply paste it. Alright, we're going to need this to be positioned right at the very top. You see, we can disable our outline and we'll get an image like this. We'll get to that shortly. So first I'd like to insert this tree.
How do we do that? We need to be on this layer with our set using the selection tool. With 3 fingers, we select cut and paste on the screen, and just like that, it's now been pasted onto its own separate layer. We'll hide this layer for now, and then we'll take our tree. I'm turning off the magnet. It's awkward for me. Right, where's our light? I think it's somewhere here. Yes, that's it. And we place our tree just as we like. We place it.
Alright, moving on. You can simply click this little checkbox right here, and then all of the layers will be hidden from view. That way, it might be much easier for you to make your selections.
Lasso tool, freeform selection.
We highlight with 3 fingers on the screen, cut, paste, then we hide it. And we click it once more. We're going to hide this particular layer. And this is exactly how it turns out for us. And I had originally envisioned this tree standing right here. Well, it's almost as if it's in the absolutely perfect scale. Oh, that's excellent. What else do we have here? We have these kinds of bushes. We select them, then cut, paste, and then we hide these specific ones. The idea behind this is that
they absolutely must be somewhere around here.
It's here, but they really should be positioned up above, right above this particular pink tree.
So that's the situation we're facing, and now we must move on to the next part.
We're going to take this particular bush, this one right here, and we'll put it onto a completely separate layer, and then we'll just go ahead and hide it.
Let's just go ahead and do it like this. We're going to select this particular bush right here, cut and paste. It is supposed to be higher than the previous one.
We reflect it along the horizontal axis. And then we carefully place it right above our tree. So this is how it's going to be placed right up here on top. I'm suggesting that we make it just a little bit less saturated. Alright then, and we're left with just one little Christmas tree. I had originally intended for it to be positioned in the background. So the very first thing I would do you know what that is? I would simply go ahead and erase her. So this is how I thought it should be, and I really wanted to place it approximately right here. But at the back, specifically behind our main building, you'll find it positioned right there, just beneath the bottom edge of the window frames, and yet still clearly visible above the level of the grass. It won't be all that visible, you know. We can even go ahead and duplicate it this way, and then make it smaller, let's say. And then we can just put it in right here and duplicate it again.
You need to put it in there like this.
Let's duplicate this and then add it right here. These are the background fir trees we have. Like this. Pause. Next, we need to select the path. Pause. We'll create a new layer above the grass layer. Pause, and then use the free selection tool. Pause. We'll select the area. And so let's pick this brown color. The color code is 124, 108, 85. We'll drag it. Oh, actually, let's just select the color. Although we could even just stick with this current color and simply make it a little bit darker. Well, what you need to do is take the fresco brush and then you just do it like this. Just a little bit. Guide it, and then the magic wand, then zoom and drag it to the right. Done. Now we need to add shadows and reflections. How do I add shadows?
A new layer at the very top. I'll choose a purple color here and then drag it all the way down and to the right. Now the selection tool, freeform, and we'll select the specific areas where our shadow will be cast.
She will clearly be to fall exactly like this.
We can go ahead and select the rectangle tool, and it's going to fall down something like this.
The shadow will 100% fall right here. It will be falling in this manner.
That's pretty much it. Then we take the tool, we take our color and drag it right over here. So like this, for this layer I usually set the blend mode to multiply and then reduce its opacity as you prefer. Here I've set it to 35%. Alright, to make it a little softer, we'll go into the Gaussian blur effect and then we'll just apply it ever so slightly, like 4%. And that's it, we're all done. Now, we need to create a reflection. So, under the plants, you can, above our roof, above this beige surface here, click on plus. We take the selection tool in the rectangle and select the window area where the light falls, the area that is not in shadow. That's right here.
We don't choose the panorama either. We are going to choose the white color.
We are going to use a marker brush. Then we'll turn on the drawing assistant and create these kinds of strokes. Flares. We're going to carefully reduce their size. Then we'll be playing around with the overall thickness and also adjusting their level of opacity.
We're going to go ahead and disable the drawing assistant, and then we'll create these specific diagonal highlights, just like this.
Let's just imagine. We're making it less.
I also want to get something done.
That's how it is.
Done. So now I want to slightly soften the outline of our plant. I will take the erasure. The erasure needs to have a soft brush selected. And so, in this manner, we will begin our work right here. I'll proceed to carefully remove the lower section of this image, just like so. We will then select this particular plant, positioning it ever so slightly, as though it is naturally nestled within the surrounding grass. This is done specifically to prevent any harsh or sudden visual transition from occurring. If you don't like it, undo it with 2 fingers. We make sure it looks realistic, as if it's lost in the grass. And here we have another little Christmas tree.
Alright, so these little trees, we can actually combine them into just one single layer. And we'll do that exactly like this.
So here we have the shadows cast by the trees. It's quite beautiful to create shadows in this particular way. Let me demonstrate how it's done. We'll take this specific pink tree because its shadow will clearly be falling onto the building. Then we simply duplicate it. We take the bottom duplicate, adjust the hue, saturation and brightness, setting the brightness to its absolute minimum. Using the arrow tool, we then shift it. Shadow. This is our shadow. Next, we're going to drag the motion blur effect, let's say, to approximately 15%. Then, on the multiply layer, the opacity of the layer at 50% or even a little less, let's say 43. And a very important nuance here is to use the selection tool and then we carefully select this particular shadow.
And we're going to cut it out and paste it onto a new layer, and then we'll shift its position. we're going to set the transparency to the same value we had, which was 40%, and then we'll use the eraser to remove anything extra.
This is how it's done. These two shadows, we can combine them. And for the shadows from other plants, we'll proceed in this manner. We're going to create a brand new layer and we'll call it multiply. Then we'll grab that same purple color, and for the brush, I actually want to use this specific shadows brush. I completely forgot to add it to my favorites earlier, so I'm just going to add it in right now. Here it is.
Shadow is everything. Transparency is at a minimum.
And we're doing
the shadow. It paints such a wonderfully delicate picture, almost as if it were a soft, ethereal watercolor. The distinct shadow cast by the sturdy tree trunk.
From the Christmas tree. I would also do it like this. I did some motion blur and then I'd blur these shadows a little bit, just like this. Now we can proceed to disengage our current operational circuit and then create a truly impressive wow effect.
I do it this way. I create a new layer, choose white color, and then select any brush, either the Rapidograph or the Clean Sketch brush. Let's pick Clean Sketch, then I activate the drawing assistant and we create a white outline.
The spots where you climbed up into the trees, all of that can then simply be erased very carefully and neatly.
And we emphasize the surfaces, particularly those areas where the light is falling.
I also really love to highlight window frames in this particular way. We absolutely must highlight this specific part. It is a little bit expensive. I'll enable the drawing assistant, and with a fine line, I'll outline this particular section of the track.
This is the precise location.
We should try to highlight that. And then, if you look right there, well, of course you can't really see anything at all. We'll take the eraser, and then we'll enable the drawing assistant and carefully clean up any unnecessary lines that might be present.
Well, there you have it. It's finished. This is the sketch that we've created. I truly hope you enjoyed this video lesson. So please draw with great pleasure, share your beautiful artwork, and make sure to tag me. I'll be very, very happy to see all your creations. Thank you so much.